Hey, I'm Mark,
And I'm Chris.
and we're the leftovers.
No, we're not.
Yes, we are.
I did not agree to that. One.
Hey, Chris.
Hey, Mark.
Here we are in the wondrous, awesome,
I'm going to guess Palatial
Studio C is where we're sitting.
Why not A or B?
This is Studio C. Remember?
No. you keep trying to make me go along with your
You know what we're doing in Studio C, Chris?
doing the Leftovers podcast.
We're freewheeling, jet streaming, high flying, not crying, jumping up, getting down, maybe coming to your town. Look out! Great day to say welcome, welcome, welcome. Like, listen, and share this podcast. We love our listeners, don't we, Chris?
I really wish you would talk to me before we start doing these things. That is... I'm going to go ahead and apologize to everybody. I did not okay that. He just went along with it. And
Do you know why we love our listeners, Chris? Because like today, we're using content, a title, from a listener. And listen, listener, I know you're listening. Thank you. We just going to tell you thank you ahead of time.
They're a listener because they listen. So if they weren't listening, they wouldn't be a listener.
And his opportunity to share, he says, origins of morality. That was his idea. And now we're, me and Chris, going to talk about it.
I'm going to ask you a question, and I think you're already going to have an answer for me. What is the definition of morality?
Chris, how do we run this show?
You usually give a definition
In order. You know, after you say 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and I do not sing the iCarly song, that means we're doing the podcast.
We're in the podcast, and I'm asking you the question of what does morality mean?
When we get,
What is the definition of
listen,
morality?
okay, let me ask you a question. What's the name of the show today? What's the topic?
The leftovers.
The topic.
Origins of morality.
Okay, why would I give you the definition to morality if I don't give you the definition of origin? Exactly.
You don't have to give the definition of
The
origin.
point or place where something begins. That's an origin.
Okay, now the
So
definition
we're
of
looking for
morality.
the point or place where morality begins.
What is morality?
Now, Chris, we're going to get the definition of
Morality.
morality. Hold your water, son.
I don't have water. It's a Red Bull.
Principles concerning the distinction between right and wrong, good and
Bad.
bad.
Or evil.
Another definition, the belief that some behavior is right and acceptable and other behavior is wrong
Incorrect.
or wrong.
Or incorrect. It's synonymous.
And wrong.
The words are synonymous. Why do you have to argue with me?
Wrong. Because that was our episode last week. I want to encourage folks to listen to our past episodes. Wrong being our last one. It was a really good one.
Wrong.
That was Chris.
I'm pretty sure they know the difference between our voices.
Negative Nancy.
How am I negative, Nancy?
A.K.A. Christopher.
How am I negative?
You just said I was wrong.
You say I'm wrong all the time.
Did morals take place when your conscience was formed? Do you need a conscience to have morals? Go ahead, Chris. That was a question mark. Go.
I know it was a question mark, but you know it takes me a while to think.
And speak. I like to keep the gaps on here closer so I don't have to edit them out. Which I'll edit
I want to
that
make
out.
them longer so that
In a lot of the articles I read, it said that they spoke on moral kin, meaning when you're around your nuclear family, your moral, plural, it's at its heightened state. And then as you go out into the world, it gets a little less. I don't think it totally goes away.
I don't think it is any less. I just think
it's at a heightened state. This goes back many hundreds, thousands, I don't know. Lots of years prior to the Leftovers podcast. Prior. Before, Chris.
Prior to.
Right.
Continue.
I don't get where you stop me on these things.
I didn't stop.
I know
you.
what you're
You
doing.
kept going.
I know what you're doing.
What am I doing?
It's okay. So, example. Maybe in your close family, you don't curse. Okay? That's immoral. And maybe when you get outside of nuclear family to your buds, and maybe you let a couple of words slide, so you're letting your morals slide a little.
See, that's where it's going from your view of morality and trying to use that as the litmus test for another person's morality.
No, that's all yours.
No, because if it was my morality, or if I found it immoral to curse or make faces and try to make someone laugh while they're speaking on a podcast, while they're trying to be serious.
Get to the topic.
If I thought it was immoral to use a curse word, I wouldn't do it in any situation. But because someone else finds it to be wrong or immoral, you could say, just the fact that I'm not using a curse word in their presence is not saying whether or not that is a right or wrong thing.
Yes, it is.
It's wrong to the
About
person.
your actions. You think it's wrong to say it around that person.
No, I think that
You're not saying it for them.
I'm not saying
Morals aren't for you. Morals are for them.
Isn't the definition of morality the way you see things as right and wrong?
Principles concerning the distinction between right and wrong.
Okay, so people's morality is subjective to themselves and to other people.
Others.
And people's. People.
If you were alone,
Do you think,
desert island, Chris,
Time out before we go there.
with a G-string on,
Nobody wants
desert.
nobody wants to see that, including
with a
myself.
giraffe.
We're going with mine. Do you find something right or wrong?
Do I find something right
Anything? Okay.
or wrong?
Name me one thing that you believe is wrong.
I'm going to keep it light on the front end of this. I think wrong, because we were talking about cursing, I think cursing is wrong.
Okay. And we both have gone through the discussion of why I don't think certain words are.
So, your point of that.
You think that my point there is immoral.
Do what?
You think that what I believe is wrong because you have your
No.
no.
I don't think that.
You think cursing is wrong.
For me.
There are people out there that think cursing is wrong for anybody.
Across the board. Well, they're just ignorant. It's okay. You can be ignorant. There's nothing wrong against that. There's nothing wrong with that.
You made me lose my train of thought. Thank you.
I'm sorry.
That G-string comment.
You want the giraffe didn't get you?
No.
Okay. I was just checking. I was thinking about the
Apparently me and the G-string.
The movie where the guys go out Vegas
Hangover.
Hangover, and he bought that giraffe and he's driving it down the road. And
I haven't seen that movie in forever. I don't.
There was an
remember
overpass.
Where do people usually get their morality?
Well, I have an idea on that, and I think I'm right. Which about everything
You usually
I say,
think you're right because you say
and
it.
why would you not think you're right? I rarely think I'm wrong, but I don't. I think that's healthy.
But then when somebody proves you wrong,
Well, I have to study on it, and if they have proven me wrong on something, and I change my mindset on that, whatever that is, I rarely go back and thank them for it, but they have changed my mind. I'm evolving every day.
we all are.
I hope so.
We should all be learning and
You would hope so.
changing, and well, I mean, you shouldn't always be stagnant. You shouldn't be sitting in one place all the time.
Stewing.
I mean, we really shouldn't be going backwards, but at the same time, it's hard to always be moving forward.
Is it now?
Is it better to move backwards than stay?
It's not talking about morality. It's talking about time travel or something.
No, it's
Marty!
you
You still haven't watched Back to the Future, have you?
No, I haven't.
Oh, my goodness. I thought that was an assignment.
No, you never assigned it.
Oh, it was vacation. Christmas Vacation,
I did watch that.
which you did watch.
I didn't like it.
I'm sorry, listeners. He has no taste in movies.
I have amazing taste in movies.
Amazing Grace.
How sweet the sound
Yes.
that saved a wretch like me.
Socially accepted behavior. Morals, if you will, or if you won't. All right. So if you're in public and you've drinked or drank. Exactly. That was going to be my point. You should have put that on microphone, Chris. You got another one?
No.
Just hit another one.
No. I'm not burping in the microphone.
I want to make a point.
Just make your point.
Okay. So you're out in public or at church or at your kid's school, and boy, you just had a beverage just like you're having right now. And the gases are on your stomach, and boy, they're wanting to come back up, right?
Okay.
And you know that this is probably not socially accepted, and you can probably handle not letting it out of your body, but you would feel so much better if it came out. So, do you let it go or do you hold it? What is socially accepted?
For me, it's the respectful thing is to not force everybody around my vicinity to smell the bodily gases that come out of me.
Let's just talk about the burping part right now.
Well, that's part of a burp.
Yes. Well,
And
yeah,
the sound
yeah.
that
And it smells like Red Bull mixed with Camino Real.
yeah. I have to think of would I want somebody to do that to me, around me,
In an elevator.
in an elevator,
Yeah.
in a truck.
Yeah, you've seen these videos where these kids get in an elevator and just rip one loose, and
See,
the people on there have to smell it.
It would be different if it was a bunch of like friends and playing around.
But
if
still,
just-
the people on there have to deal with it.
But that's what I'm saying though. Is if it's a bunch of friends and I'm playing around doing something stupid, then that's one
But
thing.
you can
But
you
random
can say that about anything.
random people that I don't know, or even people that I have a lot of respect for that I know that would really not like that. Or
Do you think that's immoral?
do I think what's immoral?
Passing gas, or whether it's out your mouth or out your other side in public, do you think that pertains to morals?
Yeah, I mean, certain people's morals are they don't care what other people think about them. They're going to do what they want, how they want, when they want.
But
And
do you think
everybody
do you think there's a lot of people that feel like that?
Oh yeah, there's tons of people that feel like that these days.
But I think they still have something in them, even if the majority of what they put out is, I don't care what people think. I think really they do.
they do, but their way of trying to prove that to themselves is to go out there and do stupid crap like that. Like going in an elevator with a bunch of random people you've never met before.
Ripping one up.
Rip one and then run out of the elevator.
Yeah. I get jokes, though. I mean, I do jokes myself.
But you do it with people that you know.
Yeah, I try. I wouldn't do it to an old lady or even an old guy. Or even a young lady or a young guy.
I wouldn't go in a business office with a bunch of people that are just trying to go about their day, that are probably tired, want to go home and go to bed.
Spray some of that stinky spray that people have.
I wouldn't do that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not either. But anyway, let's get back to morals.
That goes to our morals of we think that doing certain things is right and certain things are wrong. That's the way. That's the way that we were raised to have those kind of morals. Your parents instilled those in you. My parents instilled their morals into me. But at the same time, I've lived my own life, and I find certain things that my parents might think are immoral. I don't find that they're immoral.
And you and your wife agree on this.
I mean,
because you're one. You're one. You're together. Your morals ought to be really close to being the same.
I can agree with that. That yes,
your morals should look more like your wife's than your mom and dad's.
Our morals, more than often, align. There are certain things that my wife thinks that I don't agree with, but at the end of the day, 99% of the things that we agree on are the same.
Sure. That's the way it should be.
We are two people that come together to be one. But you're not always going to see eye to eye with somebody on everything.
No. So, looking on the old Google machine, and I get morals, kindness, honesty, respectful, generous. That's one of my favorites. Responsible,
like to be.
Truth, hard worker. These are some of the things that they listed as morals. Do we as a society try to, it says add to these or there or something, but this list is just that. It's an idea of what a list of morals look like. I'm going to guess we have, you and I, have morals that we've never even really uncovered. They're there. We really haven't experienced what that looks like in real life. We've never seen it, never had it happen. But whenever it takes place, maybe in someone else's life, then it comes to, and we're like, yeah, that's not right. That's not where I stand on that deal. And so just by having 6 or 7 right here, it's just an idea of what it looks like in our minds and in our hearts and our bodies of what right and wrong that we have going on a everyday situation. Positive, good, moral character. I read this right here. Really struck me. There was a website. Sorry, I didn't write it down. Somebody's not going to get credit for this. Chris, you take credit for it.
No, I'm good. I don't want credit for something.
It said this would be a good list of good moral life or standing or ever how you want to put it. But letters of recommendation, pursue an education, work 6 days a week, own your own home, attend church every Sunday, marry your high school sweetheart, strong ties to family, coach a little league team, pay taxes, pay bills on time. If someone had this going on, now it's not a checklist. It's not, okay, let's see, I do own my own home, I work somewhat, looks like 6 days a week. Let's see, I didn't do that one. It's not like that. It's just saying if this is someone's life it looks like on the outside that you're standing in the right area when it comes to morals.
Where did our society's morals come from to make that list seem like it's a moral list?
I'm glad you asked.
I'm not, after watching that face you made. You look like a teenage girl trying to make googly eyes at the boy they like.
Didn't know where that was going. I think the origin of personal morals, they began with the very first no I ever heard, followed up by the first hug I ever got, followed up by the first punishment I ever had, followed up by talks with family, friends, and clergy. I believe your morals, or in this instance, morals for me, personally started, number one, 24 hours old. Yet now at 18,864 days old, multiply that times 24 hours, it'll give you the hours old. That's where it started. I don't believe we can just go away, or these morals can just go away that I've been started with from early life. They can be tweaked, but they cannot get erased.
But where did those morals come from?
One thing at a time, Chris.
No,
Chris, you want to go to the end of the book. You want to go to the end of the book.
No.
There's other pages. Don't skip to the pictures. We're going to read the book.
This is my podcast as well. I will take
As well.
it where I want to take it.
That is true. Yours as well. So we're not skipping to the pictures.
No, I'm going to
The
ask
origins
a question.
of civilization's morals are a lot the same as mine personally, I believe.
Say that
comes
again.
understanding comes from rules, with which rules come understanding. People have to slam the toilet lid on their brother's pee-pee to realize he ought not do that when I was a child. People have to realize that. You have to do it to understand not to do it. In some instances, not all of them. But it was it's a curious child. Wham! Yeah, you ought not do that, son. Okay, I won't again. But you do not have to encounter terrible to know terrible. Morals, like I said before, are for others, not for you.
Now, to my question of...
The one question Chris has is...
It's not the one question I have. It's the one question that I asked that you keep saying.
Chris, I tell jokes, man.
I've only asked the same question multiple times in different ways. Actually, I've asked multiple questions.
Okay.
But I'm hoping this one gets answered.
Which is?
Where does our society's morals come from?
Where do you think they come from?
I asked the question to you, so I'm wanting an answer from you, not another question.
Well, when you talk about society, you talk about me.
When I talk about society, I talk about everyone. Mm-hmm. Because you have
answer
said
for my next door neighbor.
You have said that
I told you how I receive my morals, and I'm going to guess everyone looks kind of the same on that. From the first no,
there are certain
hug, loving, hating, cheerful, fearful situations you're put in as an early child sets the tone for morals.
Where did those morals come from?
You keep reversing that.
You keep going and keep going.
Keep
there's
going,
an origin
keep
to
going, keep going, keep going. Yes.
There's an origin.
Great, whatever. For myself, did the same thing. They figured out what was wrong They passed it on.
Where did that begin?
Yes.
How did they figure out something was wrong?
They did it. They might have slammed the lid. I don't know. I'm guessing they didn't have a lid.
What I'm There are certain things in our society which we are a part of
Yes, we are.
that majority of people agree that are good and bad things.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Do you think we have a list of these, Chris?
you gave a list of them.
Yeah. Do you think we have more? Do you think we have a list to go by that we've inherited by any chance?
Yes.
Oh, yeah? Where are they at?
Well,
In the Hall of Fame? Hall of Justice?
for the majority of people, our morality has began from a Judeo-Christian. Why are you showing me where you wrote down Judeo-Christian? Because you knew I was going to say it. You keep looking at me, and I get nothing from this. I need a little give to my take.
You're not understanding my looks.
You're right, I'm not, which is why this is a verbal podcast.
Yes. Well, Judeo-Christian. You think that our society that we live in, maybe not 1,000 years ago or 3,000 years ago, maybe they didn't live by Judeo-Christian because there's not such a thing.
No, where I'm going at is
So prior to that, where did morals come from?
where I'm saying in this country, our morals came from a Judeo-Christian background.
Do you know what that word means?
Well, part of it is Christian, followers of Christ. The Judeo part is
Judaism.
Jews, yes.
Judaism.
See, I mean, Christians and Jews.
Judaism.
Christians and Judaism
Yes.
have
This term
certain
was
things
first
that
used in 1821 by a guy named Alexander McCall. October 17th, he wrote a letter. So that saying has only existed 200 years. It was also used again by Joseph Wolfe in 1829. And this term referred to Jews converting to Christianity. Today there's a new term for that. Messianic Jew, which I call Christians.
okay.
So that term was first used as a Jew
Becoming a Christian.
becoming a Christian. And
Well-
so through time, that term has changed
Yes.
to say we. And why do you think today we use that term at all? Instead of Christian values, we say Judeo-Christian values.
We
Why
say
do you
that
think
because some of the Christian morals come from the Ten Commandments or the Book of Leviticus, early Judaism. When Jesus, as a Christian, when Jesus came, he came to fulfill the law, which is, I guess, you can be found in Leviticus and throughout the prophets in the old, as what Christians would consider the Old Testament. He did not remove all of the laws that were put onto Jews, but he changed a lot of them. So we still have certain rules and laws to follow from that even the Jews follow.
How many of the Jewish law are we as Christians, I'm talking Christians, expected to adhere to?
How many? Like, I don't know exactly how many.
So the Judaism was given and lived by today. 613 commandments.
Okay.
Out of those, how many should we adhere to? All of them?
All of them, unless Jesus specifically, or Jesus or the apostles said so.
Well, some of these contradict what Jesus said. And that bothers me.
Some of what?
These commandments. The 613.
As I said, unless Jesus or the apostles, who were the voices for Christ after, if I'm not, I mean, someone can correct me if I'm wrong on that, but if I'm not mistaken, Jesus said...
You mean one of our great listeners?
Yes. If they can tell me that where I'm wrong on that, I believe the apostles
Let me give them the number now.
Were Christ's...
I meant to put the number up front.
Okay. I believe the apostles were the voice for God and Christ after he ascended to heaven. That whatever he changed is changed.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, you have something going on and I'm
just reading, Chris.
Yeah, you're reading and it's It's
I'm
messing with me. That's even weirder.
No, this word got me thinking about our origins as Christians, as our society that we live in. And you had mentioned it the other day, Judeo-Christian. And so I really didn't know what that meant. I knew what it sounded like. I had an idea what it meant, but through a little study, thank you again, listener, for giving us this topic where I could do a little studying. And I don't know if he wants his name mentioned. That's why I'm not saying it. But I was wondering, because years ago I did a little study on the Jewish commandments that they are commanded to live by.
The 10 Commandments or all of Leviticus?
613 commandments.
So Leviticus?
And so I wondered why a Christian nation, at one time I think we were more Christian than not. I don't know that it's that way today. Maybe. Whether it is or not, it doesn't change anything. But by including Judeo into the Christian moralities or whatever we're going about here.
The values.
What values? So I was thinking, if that's the list that we're to go by, the 10 commandments that are all in the 613, are we as Christians not to go by the 613? Or does it make us more Judeo-Christian that we learn the 613 and live by? I don't know. It's just a thought in my mind. I don't know that anybody can live by these.
Part of Christianity is learning the old and how it was fulfilled and became new. Old Testament, New Testament. Yeah, you see. So I mean, things are changed from the old laws into the new laws.
Yes,
there are still some of the old laws that are still in there, but a lot, I believe, in our belief, are gotten rid of or changed to something different, and some things are the same. People want to talk about how when it comes to homosexuality, Jesus never talks about people being gay. Well, when Jesus was here, Jesus was speaking to the Jews. The Jews already knew the law of homosexuality being wrong. Jesus didn't need to profess that to the Jews. They already knew that was wrong. He didn't say that it was right, so that left it as wrong. So as things progressed and he's gone to heaven, and Paul and all the apostles go to these surrounding areas that weren't weren't necessarily Jewish, but converting them into Christians, some of their morals might have found homosexuality not wrong. So that's where Paul and the other apostles would preach that the homosexuality is wrong. But some people want to say that just because Jesus didn't say anything about it being wrong means that it's okay.
What about adultery? Is it wrong?
Yes.
Sex outside of marriage? So that includes homosexuality. I'm sorry, fornication.
Yes,
fornication. So that includes homosexuality. Sex outside of marriage.
Okay.
So it is included.
Say that again?
It is included.
What's included?
Homosexuality.
And being wrong?
It's fornication.
And being wrong?
Yes.
I literally just said that.
Right. But you were saying there were some people that would think that, well, they would also think fornication. I've listened to what some people consider as progressive Christians, and they use the fact that Jesus never said anything about homosexuality to show that, oh, Jesus didn't say it was wrong, so it must be okay. Well, that's because they're probably living it. People that are living in sin are going to make that sin okay. That's just the way that works.
There are people out there that have their urges, and they decide not to act on it. Which is good. I can understand how it would be a hard thing to control a certain urge.
So if you acted on all your urges,
this would be a terrible place.
Do you have morals?
I do have morals.
No. That was a comma after that question.
So the question is, do I have morals if I just acted
on all your urges?
No.
You have no morals.
There would be you would have morals, but your morals would be.
I don't know that you would. I think you'd be less of morals.
See, that's the thing, though. We would see it as if with our morals that we have right now, we would see it as. I need to set these down.
Yes, you do.
We would see it.
He was cracking on some cans over there.
We would see it as we're looking at it right now from if we just went on all of our urges, that it would be less moral, if not immoral. But we would feel completely different if we didn't have a sense of our morals that we have now. Our morals would be different.
You don't think everybody has a little voice in them?
It's a conscience, yes.
Not to do it?
Certain people find... there are people out there without a conscience.
You think?
Yes.
You think there's a person out there who does not have a conscience? Well, we just said earlier on that if you don't have a conscience, you can't have morals.
Who said that?
We said that earlier. It was
no,
on
you
page
said
one.
that. I don't agree.
We're in this together, man.
But I don't agree with that.
That's okay.
People who
what's new?
People who are sociopathic who cannot find empathy, they act on, unless they are taught not to. Majority of them act on their urges because they don't have a sense of caring about another person. If it's wrong or not. If it's good for them, then it's good. If it's good for them, they're gonna do it because they can't find that empathy of, oh, I'm hurting this person, or I'm making this person feel uncomfortable, or go on the list of things that we would consider immoral.
So you don't think that everybody has the voice inside of them?
No, not every
to do or not to do.
No, I don't believe everybody has that voice. At the exact same time, though, depending on how you grow up, or not even how you are raised, or how you learn, that if you do, even if you have that voice is going to be different. Compare majorly or minorly to someone else.
Was that a reference to baseball?
No.
Okay.
I'm saying someone that is Muslim
Yep.
has a different morality than a Christian. A Christian has a closer, but still a different kind of morality from a Jew. We all have different moralities, even Christian to Christian. Christians have different views on morality depending on where their beliefs are, denominational wise, or just in their understanding of what the word is. Why do you keep going back to the paper?
Well, I was looking at the 613 in Leviticus for the Jews that says, 141 says, not to have sexual relations with your sister.
Okay.
Not to have sexual relations with your father's wife. Would that not be your mother? Oh, that's 139. Not to have sexual relations with your mother. Or anybody's mother. No, not the case. But anyway, a lot of not to have sex with this one, that one, and the other one. Morally speaking, and that's what we're talking about today, morals, that do, trying to think of how to.
Do you know why those are in there?
Yeah, I do.
Why are they in there?
To not do.
Why is it specifically told to these people, not to the Jews, not to do them?
Probably because it had happened.
Or they see it with the people that they conquer, or even the people that conquer them, the surrounding people, the Canaanites, the Hittites. There's a bunch of ites I can't. They all had different beliefs.
What about to kill the missionary? I had to study a minute on that one. Do not be afraid to kill the missionary. I don't understand that one. I'm still not sure I understand it.
But where I was going at is,
where was you going at?
They're surrounded by all these people that their beliefs are different.
We are too.
They see that the way that these other people are worshiping their idols and their quote unquote lowercase g gods, and all the things that they're doing for their gods.
What about he must not eat grape skins? There's a good one. I don't know. I find that to be impossible.
Don't talk back to your mother or your father.
Okay.
Or you'll be stoned.
Or you'll be... I mean, you have to... If they ask you a question, you have to talk to them. Right?
You know exactly what I meant by talking back to your parents.
Example?
Did you ever talk back to your parents?
Yeah, if they ask me something. You don't talk back to your parents? How do they know what you're thinking? You write them a letter?
Okay, what about back talk? Not talk back, but back talk.
Back talk? Kind of sassy talk?
Yes.
I'm sure I did.
Okay. Well, by the standards, you would be stoned.
Yeah. I don't like those. I'm not Jewish. I don't plan to be Jewish. By those, is that what you're talking about, though?
That's what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And I listened.
So what's wrong with those moral values versus your moral values? What's the difference? I mean, these are very precise things to do, not to do,
Okay.
Impossible.
I believe that where my morals come to differ is I believe that Jesus is the Son of God. He came down and he changed a bunch. He didn't. He fulfilled a law. He fulfilled a promise. Mm-hmm. And so that certain things of the old law, we are still under because it's still a law. Mm-hmm. But Jesus, who is God, is the only one who can change laws that we are to go by, or the people that he has given the Holy Spirit, who is also God, to change those laws or affirm them.
Awesome, Chris.
That didn't help.
Good job, Chris.
I don't like this topic.
Well, when we talk about origins, the beginning of something, we weren't there when it happened. When the origin of what we, I'm going to guess majority of people we know, morality is roughly the same. There's a little here and a little there. But for the most part, I'm going to guess we're close to the same. And probably the ones we're way far off on could be those I was talking about earlier that we'll never know. It won't come up. But our everyday life and even extraordinary times in our lives when, let's say someone we knew has a funeral and we attend it, and our workmates, our family members are all there. A lot of people we know, have known for many years. And some person decides it's socially okay to start singing the national anthem in the middle of the quiet funeral. I think that would be weird. You probably would think this would be weird, especially if this person is quote unquote okay. They're not inebriated or drug induced or challenged, And so they get up and start singing the national anthem. And you think, man, this is not right. This is weird. Do you say something? Do you say, hey, shut that down? We don't want to hear that in a funeral. Or do you just be quiet, let them finish? Or what do you do in this scenario?
Well, for me, myself, I would not say anything, look at the mother, wife, or significant other of the person that is in the casket, and if they have a look of what in the world is going on, then yes, I would try to get the person to stop. But if they look like they're fine with it, it's not really hurting anybody other than making it to where people can't talk, then I might let it go.
Let it go, let it go. We always have to put a song in here, don't we?
Can't hold me back anymore. That
was sneaky. Sneaky good right there.
Cold never bothered me anyway.
Okay. It's enough of that. Is our moral inner voice we talked about earlier, such as in a cartoon when you have an angel on one shoulder and Satan on the other with a pitchfork, is that how we look? I mean, is that an outward picture of how we look inside? When we encounter an issue, and so let's say we're 21 years old, we're legally able to get some alcohol, and we show up to the alcohol joint. You like that?
Alcohol joint? Yeah.
You like that choice of words, Chris?
Are you talking about a bar or a liquor store?
Yes.
Those are two different places.
And you show up and you get you some alcohol. You legally
get you some alcohol.
You legally get it. And now you have the opportunity to get you a sip there in the vehicle, or you can go home, get you a couple of sips at home. Although you have heard your whole life up to this 21-year-old point that we think alcohol drinking is wrong. And now here you are, 21, you're an adult, quote unquote. And so,
but there again, you can hear something from everybody around you, but you can have your own thoughts.
Remember that lid on the toilet I talked about?
Yeah, I'm slamming it down on your Peter. That sounds so bad.
Yes, you are.
I'm messing up. I am messing with your story.
Yes, you are.
Just because you hear something all the time doesn't mean that that's what you're going to believe.
But do you have to test it to know that's right, that's wrong, that's what I believe, that's not what I believe?
No, because I don't have to go murder somebody to figure out that's wrong.
That's extreme. That's getting a little extreme. This is legal. What you're doing at 21, it's legal. Murdering someone is not legal. Okay. So you're doing a legal, and we, as you said, we live in this Judeo-Christian society that we got our laws from.
Okay. Here we go.
Okay.
To me, fornication is wrong.
Yes.
The world doesn't think it's wrong.
That's okay.
But just because I've heard over and over again that fornication, sex outside of marriage is wrong. Sex doesn't mean that that's what I believe. Mm-hmm. I do believe it because I've had my own thoughts. I've done my own research.
Uh-oh. Hey-o!
I've read. I know what I believe. I've read my Bible, and I've seen that fornication is wrong. Mm-hmm. Okay, go to the alcohol thing. Mm-hmm. I have heard a lot growing up that taking a sip of alcohol is wrong. Taking a sip of alcohol is wrong. Mm-hmm. But even in the Bible, they drink wine, which did have some
punch.
It had a punch to it, and the Bible says being drunk is wrong. Mm-hmm. Okay, just because I have a little bit of whiskey here or there, which I have
like a country song.
Yeah,
a little bit of whiskey here, a little bit of whiskey there.
I don't think that having that in moderation is wrong. Can things lead to that? Yes, but at the same time, you have to have the ability to make that decision of to this point is okay, after this is not okay. If I start doing it and making a mistake and going over that limit to where I do start to get drunk, I need to stop.
A little late though, right? If a little's good, a lot's better. That's the way I live life.
No, it's not always right.
I didn't say that.
So just because you say a little's good, a lot must be better. Mm-hmm. It's not always the case.
It's not always true, but I'm saying
that's what I said. It's not always the case.
That's kind of how I roll, though.
Then maybe you shouldn't have it, and that's okay to you.
Ding, 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 ding.
But to someone like myself, having...
You shouldn't have it either.
That's your belief. You can have that.
I'm trying to help you out.
You
don't need it. You're good without it. You don't need it.
Am I not allowed to make a statement?
Oh, you can. I'm just going to let you know ahead of time.
You've let me know many a times.
You don't need it. It's not good for you. Go ahead. What you got?
I am of the belief of I know what I can do.
A couple of shots.
No, not even
one shot.
Not even. I don't do shots.
Whatever, that much. Ever how it comes. A sip. I mean, a couple of sips. Then are you praying? Would you say, Lord, thank you for the day you've given me?
If you're hiccuping from alcohol, you've had way too much.
You can still pray drunk, I guess.
Yes, you could.
That's a shame.
Just because you've done something wrong doesn't mean you can't ask for forgiveness.
You should.
Yes.
Probably when you sober up.
What's wrong with doing it while you're intoxicated?
I don't know. I find that to be a...
If you're intoxicated and you figure out you've done something wrong...
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah,
can you not
run over somebody or, but just, I got drunk.
Someone is at home and they're by themselves and they feel like they're inebriated, like they...
Right.
And they feel out there and they know that they're wrong.
I've done, okay. I went over the limit.
Can they...
I don't know. hopefully I won't be in that situation. I don't know, though. I don't know the answer to that.
But I mean that. Where does it say that you can't ask for forgiveness?
It doesn't. I'm just for me. I have a list of morals. I have a list of when and when not to pray. I don't think if you're sleeping with someone else's wife in the middle of sexual relations, you pray to God to forgive you for doing this. I think your timing is not good, or prior to it, maybe afterwards.
Well, I mean,
same way with drinking alcohol.
It's not.
I feel the exact same way.
It's not just praying for forgiveness; it's also the repenting of it. Mm-hmm. If you're inside of a woman that is somebody else's wife,
Lord, why don't you just draw them a picture there, Chris?
Well, because you're talking about you're in the middle of it.
This is a G-rated program.
If you let me continue, please, sir. If you're in the middle of it and then trying to ask for forgiveness, you're not repenting of it. You're continuing.
Well, okay, you can repent and let's talk about something else.
You can't be inside of somebody, ask for forgiveness.
Well, I'm saying if you're in the middle of your sin, is that the time to pray? You said you can always pray. You always pray.
You can,
right?
But you can also be wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
In the middle of your
or not do it in the first place. That's my point. Quit drinking, Chris.
I can't remember the last time I had a drop of alcohol. To be frank with you,
You think smoking cigarettes is a issue? Morals.
A moral issue?
I don't.
You don't think it's a moral issue?
I do not.
Well, I was.
I think it's more of a health issue.
Could it not be a moral issue?
No, I don't. I don't know any way you can make that a moral issue.
You don't.
I did. That's all, folks. No, I don't see a way you can construe that into which you're sitting there thinking, well, I'm thinking the same thing about alcohol. But I look at cigarettes and alcohol as two different things. All right. I said, what are you doing?
Continue.
I say cigarettes is just ruining your health. And an anxiety pill, I think that's what cigarettes are. We've just realized it in the last few years. They're anxiety sticks. People that smoke those things are anxious. They're trying to get their nerves calmed down. It's a nasty way to do it, but that's what it does. I'm thankful I don't do it, but I'm not looking somebody in the eye when it comes to morals and right and wrong and good and bad. As you're smoking cigarettes, you're bad.
What about pot?
Same.
Okay.
Except pot can change your mind.
Cigarettes
like
can
alcohol.
change your mind.
Not really.
You can be so addicted to that cigarette it could change the way that your brain thinks of, I need a cigarette. I need a cigarette.
I didn't talk about addiction. I'm talking about instant gratification. Pot will give you that. It'll give you an instant low. It'll give you an instant, I'm secure. Alcohol will give you that low, I'm secure. Cigarettes is just like people taking anxiety medicine. I'm comforted. For some people. It's not for me. It's probably not for you. But for some people, I don't find that to be an issue when it comes to morals. Again. Huh?
I said excuse you.
Mm-hmm. 2 times. So I think morals are say it 2 times, Chris.
Origin of morals.
The origin of morals came from the first person that ever lived on this earth.
Depending on what
Have they
you believe in.
changed over time? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Do your own morals... Okay, the origin of your moral makeup started when?
When I was born. Because as soon as I was born, my parents are teaching me what they believe is right and wrong. That's what I have to go off of. Mm-hmm. And then as I grow, not only do I continue to learn from them, but I learn from my surroundings. I learn through my life. I learn through other people, what they believe, to where I can then myself figure out whether...
Stop right there. societally speaking, all right, now that you've got to that point in life, parents, and you grow and you got to this point, so now, do you think it is your job to go out in society and show them this is right and this is wrong, or not?
Should I go show or go tell?
Yes. I do that a
To
lot.
both, yes.
Because the two things you say, I agree with.
To both, yes.
Yeah.
You should. I mean,
I think a lot more show than go, but
as a Christian, I am called to go out there and show and tell. Show and tell
Jesus.
Yes.
But I'm talking about
I mean,
moral makeup.
my moral center is Jesus. Is my belief in Jesus being the Son of God, being my Savior, and He has given me the way of making it to heaven, paradise, for eternity.
Okay, the little lesser of morals, sticking your finger in your nose in
Eating it.
Kroger. Sticking your finger in the nose in an elevator full of people.
Can we just go off of putting your finger in your nose and eating it? I've had to deal with my child doing that a lot.
So, where does that yes or no come from?
That one right there is societal of what society says is gross, what is nasty.
Yes.
And doing something gross and nasty in front of a bunch of people, unless you're watching the Jackass movies.
And if people make you super anxious, you go smoke a cigarette and pick your nose and eat it. Here's something we want to say today. If you guys have an idea for a future program, like we did today, a listener gave us an idea and we went long on it. Anyway,
we didn't go long.
That if you would give us an idea, we will use it.
You say we will. I'm going to try to get out of it.
We will. And
depending on what it is.
That number that you want to text is 615-330-3644. Text the words
moral.
Origins of morality, or morals, or origins, or origins of morality. Chris, you look confused over there.
What if I text Arkham Asylum Origins?
I like Text OOM
Batman Origins
to I'm sorry guys, 615-330-3644, and we will use your idea. I will say in the upcoming weeks we have one, maybe two other episodes coming from our listeners, and we thank you guys for listening, because without you we are just two guys talking about stuff, which is kind of what we're still anyway.
About to say that we would still be doing this,
right?
But we would like more people to listen.
We will.
We would like more people to interact with us, give us ideas, maybe even change our minds.
Nah,
you never know.
I don't.
You do a lot of research.
I do.
But I mean, we're not so hard-headed that if something is shown. I'm done for the day.
Me too.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.
See ya.
Bye.